Hi friends, it's Michelle from Michelle Page Blogs, and today I wanted to show you how to make these fun sweater pumpkins. And you don't have to use glue or sewing, they're super easy, you can make them in any size, and very, very fun. So let me get them out of the way and let's get started. So what you want to start with is a sweater, an old sweater, maybe even from Goodwill. This one came from Goodwill, and I like them to be chunky and soft. Those are my favorite. So if you can find those in a nice color, like this is a great pumpkin color. And then you want to get like a plate or a paper plate, something round that you can get a round shape out of. This particular paper plate is about 12 inches long, so it makes a nice pumpkin. Take your Sharpie and draw an outline all the way around, so you have a pattern on your sweater, and then you can cut that pattern out and give yourself a circle. So let's start with the circle of our pumpkin. And what goes in the center first is kind of unusual, and that is some beans. I have some white beans right here, about maybe a quarter cup of beans. You want to have a weight on your pumpkin so that when it stands up, it doesn't like fall over or lopsided. So the beans help with that. And then next you want to add the stuffing. Just kind of pull it apart. 2 big handfuls work for this size. You want your pumpkin to be fluffy and plump. And once you have your stuffing in the center, then you're going to start pulling up the sides of the sweater, covering the stuffing, getting all the sides, all the cut sides together in your hand. Make sure you have no slipped ends. Gather it up, get the stuffing in there. Okay, so now you can see, and stretch it. That's what makes it so nice, is these sweaters stretch really easy. Okay, so you should have all the ends up like that. Then take your rubber bands and tie a rubber band around all those edges. This is gonna hold the shape so we can work on it, and it helps us not having to use glue or sew. Okay, so once you get all the ends in a nice tight rubber band, it should look something like this. Now the spines. So what you want to do is get out your twine. A roll of twine works the best, and you want to measure from the top of the pumpkin all the way around to the other side of the pumpkin, and that'll give you about the length that you want. And oops, go ahead and trim it off. And you'll want 4 pieces of this. You're gonna need 4 pieces, and you lay it out kind of like you would if you were cutting a pizza. So make a cross and then a diagonal and then another diagonal, and they all meet in the center, just like that. And so your pumpkin goes smack in the middle of that. Then, one by one, you're going to pull up the pieces of the spine, of the twine, into your hand. So pull it up all the way around the edges of the pumpkin and hold it in your hand. And you can see what you've done is you've got spines on your pumpkin. So turn it over, even them out a little bit if they need to be separated a little more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to tie another rubber band right over the one we just did. This rubber band is holding all those pieces of twine. So tie it on pretty tight. Make sure you have all your pieces of twine. Let's see if I can get one more without breaking the rubber band. Oh, this one's a tight one. Okay, so now all the pieces of twine are in this rubber band, and it looks something like this. Pull it up a little bit, make sure you got all those edges. Okay, so now what you can do to make your pumpkin look even more real is you pull on those spines, and it kind of goes into the fabric a little more and really defines each little spine of the pumpkin. I love this part. And you can see just kind of the edges in it. Hold on here, this one, there we go. Make him a little bit tighter. Pull him up. So then your pumpkin has some definition. it just looks a little more real. I love that look. Okay, so then the next step is to get out your twine again, and this time keep it on the roll, and you're gonna tie it around just on top of those rubber bands. And I like to leave I don't know, like a good 4 to 6 inches hanging out. See how that's hanging out? Because I like to have vines when I'm done, so I'm gonna leave this one hanging, and the rest of them I'm going to just kind of hold in my hand as I wrap and make a stem. Now, sometimes it's easier to take, let's see if I have another rubber band somewhere. Sometimes it's nice to take another rubber band and just kind of get some of these threads out of the way to make it easier for you to wrap your stem. And if that helps you, I say go for it. So you can just kind of put a rubber band on the top just to hold these things out of the way. Okay, so then once you've tied on your twine, you are ready to wrap your stem. So hold the excess material, and you want to go around and around tight as you can. You're going to cover up the rubber bands that we tied earlier. And you see how I'm just making a stem by wrapping it around and around tight. Try to make the stem small. You don't want your stem to be too thick, then it just kind of looks weird. And you can decide how tall you want your stem. You see how I'm leaving this piece out? I'm leaving this piece out on purpose because that's the one I'm going to make into a vine. So keep wrapping. And when you think you have enough stem, let's see, make sure you cover up all that sweater material as you wrap. When you think you have enough stem, stop, cut, and then you can just tie it on with that piece that you left off. So I just tie a knot right here, and then the excess of my knot becomes the vines. Okay, so now I have 2 vines sticking out like that. All right, so now all this stuff on top, we are gonna cut off. So take a good pair of sharp scissors, and we are gonna trim this guy. Wow, my scissors don't feel very sharp today. Trim him off, and if you can't make a good cut the first time, go ahead and trim him off very close to the twine as you can. It's not gonna slip, especially if you tied it super tight. It should be just fine. So then you have a nice flat stem to your pumpkin. Okay, so next, if you want, this is optional, is I said that this was no glue, but sometimes we have to use a little glue. So it works well with glue or Mod Podge, either one. I just use some Elmer's glue. And what I do is I take the glue and I put it all over the twine and I rub it in with my fingers. And you can do this with Mod Podge as well. The glue dries clear, of course, so that's nice. And then to make it curly is you wrap it around a marker or a Sharpie. I'm wrapping it around this Sharpie, and I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it in place and let it take shape, let it take form. And it's gonna take the form of curls to make it look like a vine. And if you hold it, the longer you hold it, the more curly it will stay. But for time's sake, I'm just gonna take it off early, and you can see that I still got a little bit of curl in it, which is really fun. Now, if you'd like to put a tag on your pumpkin, you can head to my blog and print out these fun tags. Print them on the brown craft cardstock and just cut them out, trim them up, and attach them right to your pumpkin, and then you can gift it to a friend. There you go. Quick and easy sweater pumpkins. Thanks.